Are your grades good enough to get a D1 football scholarship? Maybe you've been struggling to balance school and football, or you face challenges that seem impossible to overcome, like a tough teacher situation or ADHD. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how to get good grades as a student athlete in high school and ultimately secure that college football scholarship you've been dreaming about. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Richie Contartesi. I'm the founder of Next Play, and I specialize in transforming driven varsity football players into confident businessmen, where 83% of our athletes earn college football scholarships and 42% go Division I. And I make these videos because I understand the struggle firsthand. At just 5'7" and 150 pounds, I secured a D1 football scholarship in the SEC at Ole Miss, and now I want to share my journey and the lessons I learned with you so you can live your dream as well. Before we jump into the things that will guarantee you get good grades, I just want to emphasize the point that your grades do matter. Now, if you're in the top ESPN 300, then obviously you can have as low as a 2.0 GPA and probably be fine. Are you going to still suffer and lose scholarships as a part of that? Yes. But in reality, it's not as important. You're probably watching this video because you're not in the top ESPN 300, which means for you, it's really important. Now, while most athletes out there just go through the motions in class, don't pay attention, try to act cool, and ultimately don't realize that having bad grades actually shows coaches that you're not disciplined, you're not committed, and you don't care. So you have to understand, as college football coaches, they just don't coach you in football. When I was at Ole Miss, I saw many instances where players didn't go to class, they didn't go to the tutors, they had bad grades, and it's a burden on the position coach, even in the SEC at the highest level. So when they're recruiting players, it's not just about having good grades to have good grades. It shows that they're not going to have to worry about you, and they can focus on coaching you as a football player and a person and not have to babysit you academically. Also, if you're competing with a player and they're on the fence whether they should offer you or the other player, more than likely they're going to offer the player with better grades. So the steps I'm going to outline right now are critical for you to be able to get the best scholarships possible. Number one, print out the requirements needed to play at your Division I dream school. See, when I was in 5th grade, unfortunately, my parents got divorced and I was diagnosed with ADD, ADHD, dyslexia, you name it. I really struggled in school, and not much longer after my parents got divorced, I failed 5th grade. And there was one thing that I did that really made a difference in my life, and that was I went on the internet and I looked up the academic requirements needed to play at the University of Miami. That was my dream school as a young player growing up in South Florida. And I remember looking at those requirements and looking at the 3.5 GPA, which was the higher standard for the University of Miami, and saying to myself, this is possible. And that's just after failing 5th grade. But it did something different to me. And I made a video about shooting for a Division I scholarship, even if you're not a Division I player. I'll link that video in the description below, but it's really important to understand that even if you're not a Division I player, it's what it does to you mentally, the drive, the dedication, the skill development, the habit formation, the way you think, the way you act, the way you plan your day when you're shooting for the top. And so when I printed out those requirements, I put them on the back of my door, I put them on the mirror in my bathroom, and I looked at them every single day, and it changed the way I think, it changed the way I acted, and it gave me a sense of belief in saying, you know what? I can actually do this. There was a really cool study that they did on goal setting, and they found that when you write down your goal, you have a 42% greater chance of achieving it, which is really powerful. So by printing out the requirements and circling them, and I wrote it down, it gave me a greater chance of achieving it. Now today I've realized many different things, like accountability actually increases it to 95%, which is why we hold the athletes who work with accountable, but just printing it out is a great start. Number two, build relationships with your teachers. My teachers always hated me all the way up until 5th grade. They didn't like me, I wasn't a good kid in school, I was always all over the place, I was bouncing out of my chairs, I was always getting in trouble. I was a bad student, and it was because I didn't talk to my teachers. I didn't speak with them. I didn't want to build a relationship with them. But as I went into 6th grade, I was able to make up 5th and 6th grade in the same year at a very special school. And after I was done with that school, I went into 7th grade. And the first thing I did on the first day of school with each one of my teachers is I asked them, what can I do to help? It was something that my 6th grade teacher taught me, which was to be in your teacher's corners, to ask them for help, to be a part of making the class better, of making their life life easier. And so as doing this, the teacher set a higher standard for me. And when I walked into their classrooms, after they set this standard for me, I felt like I had to be a good student. I felt like I didn't want to let these teachers down and that they were counting on me to be a really good student in the class, to make their life easier, to help. And as a result of that, I went from an F and a D student all the way to never getting a D or an F again and mainly getting A's and B's. So make sure, even if school's already started, walk up to your teacher and say, what can I do to help? What can I do to be a better student for your classroom? And what you'll find is that they're gonna set a standard for you and you're gonna feel like you wanna meet that standard because you don't wanna let them down. Number 3, surround yourself with the right people. Another blessing in my life was that in 7th grade, I ended up meeting a girl who became my girlfriend, and she was a really good girl, never got in trouble, always had good grades, always did her homework. And as a result of always surrounding myself with her and her friends as well, I found myself wanting to get better grades, wanting to do the right thing, and wanting to be able to live up to her expectations. And so I stopped hanging out with my friends that didn't get good grades, that didn't care about school, and I started surrounding myself with people that cared about school, that got really good grades, and it really helped me to get good grades. The people you surround yourself with at school really matter. If you're around people that care, that do their homework, that want to get good grades, so will you. Number 4, compete with others in your class. Just like in football, you compete on the field, compete in your classroom. You don't go on the field and get your butt kicked when you're doing a one-on-one drill. Why do you go in the classroom and get your butt kicked by all these other players? And probably it's because you're ego and you think you're cool because you're not doing well in school. But it's the total opposite. School is your ticket to play at the highest level possible in college and to ultimately earn a college football scholarship and to not have to pay for school. You don't want to have to pay for school and you don't want your parents to have to pay for school. This is your ticket to not have to do that. So as you walk into each one of your classrooms every day, compete. Compete against the other kids when it comes to the homework assignments, compete with your other classmates when it comes to your test scores, compete just like you do on the field, and you should compete in everything that you do every single day. And this is gonna allow you for the rest of your life to be that guy that gets whatever they want, that goes after they want, that competes every single day. And lastly, win the game of school. Just like you shoot to win the game of football, win the game of school. This is the life lesson that's going to teach you how to win the game of work, win the game of life, the game of relationships, win the game of school. It's not that hard. It doesn't matter if you have ADHD or dyslexia like me, or you have tough teachers that don't like you. Believe me, I know. My 5th grade teacher said to me I wouldn't be worth anything in front of all my classmates. It doesn't matter. You can still win the game. It's just sometimes you're the underdog, but that doesn't mean you quit. In anything in your life, you don't quit. So how do you win the game of school? You be on time. You pay attention in class. You take good notes and show the teacher that you're paying attention. And whatever you do, do not get a 0. At least do the assignments. You getting a 0 crushes your grades. And ultimately, you should be shooting for a 3.5 or higher at the lowest. Anything lower than that, you're better than that. This is high school. You can do it. It's not that hard. If you can learn a playbook, you can get a 3.5 GPA or higher with a little bit of effort because you're smarter than that. So shoot for a 3.5. Just follow what I shared with you in this video and you will get a 3.5 or higher. Now, if you liked this video and you want to see more videos just like it, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification. And if you want to watch the video where I talk about how to shoot for a Division I football scholarship, then you're going to want to watch this video right here.